back in here, you can kind of see how that storm's kind of wrapping in. Right in there is the area that we're watching within this thunderstorm. Out ahead of that, you've got a lot of heavy rain. You do have some lightning. We'll throw the lightning on here. You can see we've got, some decent lightning within this. It hasn't been anything out of the ordinary in terms of the lightning strikes. That's 14 in the last 10 minutes or so. So not an extraordinary loud storm. It's just the fact that we've got this little couplet of wind right here, and that is a pretty good signature heading towards Edie Hill Road southeast and Weaver's Run Road. That's going to be right where that intersection with 800 comes into play, right in here. This is the area that we're watching with that rotation as it continues out towards the east. This rotation is now out of Gnadenhutten. Warwick, you're fine right now. The town of Mill, you need to be in your safe place. If you're anywhere along 36 or south of that, that's going to be an area that is of concern. And you look at this in terms of real estate. I mean, this is the part of the county we're watching right here. The rest of the county, especially the western half of this tornado warning, you're just fine. This storm is now east of you. Let's put a little loop on this too, if we could. That way you can see, and I'll slow this down for you so you can kind of get a taste of where this storm has been, kind of what the behavior has been in terms of that wind. And you can see there a real good signature with this right here. You look at that little bright spot that's traveling kind of in that direction there, right along that line. So this will head, if you're in Tuscarawas County, if you're just outside of the viewing area near Nottingham, you're picking up probably the Pittsburgh stations there towards the town of Stock. Those areas are going to be impacted by this storm as it continues out towards the east. But again, it's that little notch right there that we're heading right over Edie Hill Road southeast and then eventually Weaver's Run Road. This is where it tags 800 as that kind of continues south out of the area. That's the spot that we need to watch within this storm as it continues on its east-southeast trajectory. So Tuscarawas County under a tornado warning for another 15 minutes. I would imagine we're going to be able to say goodbye to that tornado warning a little bit sooner. We've got probably another 5 or 10 minutes before this is outbound, but it's this area of circulation right here. When we look at the radar, this is coming out of Pittsburgh. That's the closest radar to Tuscarawas County. When we look at these bright spots in the radar, that indicates an area of very strong wind. When that's next to an area that's, maybe not so strong, that shows us we've got some rotation on that as that continues southeast. And again, this isn't a big storm. This isn't a widespread severe weather setup that we're expecting today, but this is a storm that's packing a punch. And for our friends down in southeastern Tuscarawas County, this is a serious storm that could be producing a tornado. And again, over the next 5 or 10 minutes, we'll watch this till it heads out of the county. But the town of Mill needs to be in your safe place. And if you're anywhere near these roadways here, which includes 800 right where it butts up against there. We haven't had a lot of hail with this. There hasn't been a lot of lightning with this either. This is producing some heavier rain. You can see this is the latest radar scan right now. So the rain is almost done in Mill. This storm is just south of there. You'll get the heavy rain first as the storm moves in. You'll have the lightning as well, maybe a little bit of small hail, but the big concern is the wind within this, which is really just a lot of rain and a lot of wind. It's not going to be one of those pretty plain states tornadoes if we're watching that. This is going to be kind of an ugly, messy one that's going to do some quick damage if it does touch down. So if you're in Mill, if you have friends in the Mill area or south of there, those are the areas that we're concerned with. It's off towards the north that we're okay right now. Roswell, Midvale, you're included in tornado warning, but I don't see a threat for you now. The storm is now south of you, and you notice how they have trimmed back that tornado warning just a little bit to include our southeastern half of the county. So in terms of the wind profile, still seeing a good signature there. This is the latest scan as it continues out towards the east. I would say another 5 minutes or so, it's going to be over Route 800. So if you have family members perhaps that travel 800 as they go throughout the evening hours coming from work or going towards perhaps a second shift or so, you want to make sure that you avoid 800 right now in southeastern Tuscarawas County. Areas that are fine are 77, highly traveled this time of day. Dover, New Philly, you're okay. If you're traveling to and from the Canton area, you're okay. The storm's going to be off the interstate. It's going to be off towards the east here as we're talking just the extreme southeastern sliver of Tuscarawas County. Bigger picture across northeast Ohio. You're probably storm-free right now if you're watching this. You notice we have a couple storms trying to fire in Summit County. None of this is severe. Our Stark County storm's not severe. The Carroll County storm we're keeping our eye on. There are some pockets of gustier winds near Carrollton right now. I'm not seeing any rotation with that in that storm, though. It's a storm down in Tuscarawas County that has shown the signs of rotation. We've had that tornado warning that was issued with this area of wind that we're watching down towards the south and the east. That one right there, this is that little pocket of strong wind. That's the reason for the tornado warning with that storm. Bets, are you happening to see any severe weather reports coming in from National Weather Service with us?
Anything I have not seen anything from the National Weather Service as of right now. As a matter of fact, that is, as it's moving out of our area, it's, clipping along that county line. So we're probably going to jump back into programming here momentarily.
Okay, awesome. And Julie at our desk called down towards Tuscarawas County. She says no reports of damage yet. Maybe a little bit early on this because this is a pretty good signature with this storm that we've got a strong rotation with this. Again, this started tracking back towards Gnadenhutten and then it kind of continues down towards the 800 area as we mentioned. So it's this corridor right here that would have any damage. Again, south of New Philadelphia, south of the Dover area, down towards the southeastern half of our viewing area. So in terms of this storm and where it's going from here on out, this is outbound. 800 is getting under the impact right now. That runs north and south. We've got heavy rain. That's that wind core probably moving over right about now. Mill, we're clearing yourself out. You probably still have some thunder and lightning around, but the rain's going to be out of there in probably 5 minutes or so. The bulk of this storm will be out of Tuscarawas County here shortly, probably another 5 minutes before it's moving on out. I'm going to zoom, kind of recenter our radar here. It's a little bit off in terms of where we're showing, but you can see Gnadenhutten, you're about done. This will head over towards Stock, Deersville, along 250, which is a highly traveled interstate as you get over towards the Ashland area as well. And this is going to be outbound. 151 is going to be impacted, 800 as I mentioned. And then you can see as we go down to street level here, we're talking Weavers Run Road. And then back towards areas near 800, like we mentioned. We can even get a little bit further than that. Not seeing the streets pop on this, but 800 definitely under the gun right now in terms of that rotation. Let's go back and look at where that rotation is and where it's been in terms of the path of this. And I'm not seeing any weakening whatsoever with this. I would not be surprised if we have a wall cloud or perhaps a weak tornado on the ground with this. I mean, this is a good signature that we've seen as this storm has continued out towards the east. And what we're looking at from a meteorological perspective is that little bright area that you see in there, right in here, this bright little notch that you see. Oftentimes on radar, it's either the reds or the greens against each other. In this case, it's kind of the blue, the very strong wind profile there you see there, and some of this darker shade that's off towards the north where there's not quite as much wind. That's a pretty good signature that we have something happening with the storm, either tornado on the ground or a wall cloud. And that strong wind right there is centered right over 258 and 800. This is just along Edie Hill Road southeast. So we can pull up the wind on here and you can see we've got about a 58 mile per hour wind measured up above the surface there. You can counteract that with some of the lower speeds we have on the side as well. So this tornado warning continues down in areas of Tuscarawas County. It's about outside of the viewing area, so we're going to toss it back to you guys. But again, if you're anywhere near Route 800 in Tuscarawas County, you want to be in your safe place. Other than that, we're clearing things out for the rest of the county. Yeah,
we'll hand off to our Steubenville affiliates so they'll continue to pick up that coverage as it's moving east. I just checked they are on the air. So we are going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with more What's New.